Hello and welcome back to Inquisitor Martyr. Last time we were continuing on our Void Crusade, and we are probably about 2 episodes away from being done, because we have only 4 missions, and that will be it. So let's just jump into the first one. Quick rifle through, Psalm code, sure. Bonus damage for champions, or 5-minute time limit. I don't like either of those for Eldar. We'll suffer through it. It's not modified otherwise, so it should be fine, and we get the damage bonuses against Eldar from previous missions. So, as of January 1st now, this is an interesting little bit, the first iteration of Mickey Mouse is finally out of copyright. It's now public domain. Which honestly is good. Disney has a history of honestly abusing copyright and lobbying constantly for additional extensions. But man, I wish people were a little more creative. Because I was sitting there, literally January 1st, there came out an announcement, there is an unnamed Mickey Mouse horror movie coming out, or Steamboat Willie if we're being specific. Another one titled Mickey's Mousetrap. And then there is a game called Infestation Origins, which is a 4-player co-op survival horror where you flee from essentially a guy in a Steamboat Willie costume with a knife. All I could think is, man, the creative chops on these folks are really lacking. Best way I can put it. The problem I have, realistically, is when these things come into public domain, this kind of stuff doesn't feel like a new idea. Oh, they must have beat their attackers. But these ideas, there's no passion. It feels more like vandalism. It's like intellectual graffiti. Sometimes you get people who will go up to a building or a wall and paint something very nice or very artistic, and then you'll get a guy who will walk up and paint a penis. And that's kind of what the Grinch horror movie, the mean one, the Winnie the Pooh Blood and Honey, and the sequel that's coming out this year, Blood and Honey 2, these all feel like graffiti. These are cinematic or video game dicks drawn on a wall. They don't feel like something made with passion. Because let's take the game for instance. First off, they had to change the name already, because it was originally Infestation 88, and apparently people instantly screamed, this has Nazi references, because 88. There's a whole rigmarole to this, so this is a whole tangent that will make sense. So, when you look into certain fascist revivalist groups, let's just title it as that, they codify things. 8 being the 8th letter of the alphabet H is the 8th letter of the alphabet, so 88, HH, Heil Hitler, that kind of whole song and dance. So people saw that and instantly ran in that direction. Which, personally, this feels kind of like Do you know what pareidolia is? It's the process in which you can look at something and see different things in it. So, if you look at, let's say I look at my door. My door is cheapo, beepo, I don't even think it's really wood, or it's very thin wood. But you see the grain. And the grain of the wood, at certain spots, you can almost see a face. Is there a face in the wood? No. But pareidolia makes you think there's a face. Or when people see a face in the gnarled wood of a tree's bark. Or remember the giant stone face that was supposedly on Mars that turns out is just a rock formation, and it's depending on how the light hits it? That's pareidolia. And that's kind of what these people are doing, is fascist pareidolia. But all these games, these ideas are just not that creative.
You need to access a decryption terminal.
But, like, Winnie the Pooh, who seriously is like, you know what Winnie the Pooh needs? Horror. We need to see Pooh Bear, the adorable yellow bear who gets stuck in honeypots, brutally kill people with an axe. And it isn't something where it's like, oh, this just isn't my taste. I love horror. But I also think there's such a thing as half-assing your horror movies. And it's stuff like that. It's Steamboat Willie Mickey Mouse horror. It very much feels like this is kind of the current cultural zeitgeist. Ever since, like, Five Nights at Freddy's, we got that Garden of Ban. God, what is it? The one with the big blue toy, Huggy Wuggy. I can't even remember the name. But it's all these weird, like, what if we took a toy factory, or totally not Chuck E. Cheese, but it kind of is, and we made it all bloody and violent and scary. It's not scary. It's just kind of stupid. Especially with, like, Five Nights at Freddy's, when you get to the lore, and it's like, oh yeah, this guy put children in the machines, and now they're fueled by their soul. It's like, what is this crap? This feels like the kind of writing you're just pulling out of your ass as fast as humanly possible, because you're like, oh god, I didn't expect this to actually be popular. Now I need a story. And it just feels stupid, because when you look at iconic horror characters, like, let's say, Michael Myers, The Shape. It wasn't, hey, you know what'd be scary? A guy wearing a William Shatner mask. It was, oh, we need a mask. Somebody just grab whatever you can find and rough it up. It'll be the serial killer mask. It's I think a bleached Shatner mask. You couldn't tell me that was a Shatner mask before. I would have been like, is it really? It is. But that's the thing. It isn't done with this intent. Because the horror shouldn't be, oh god, it's the childhood character, come back to kill people. No, it should be, if you're going to do it, you have a really scuffed up mask that you can barely tell is what it is. The horror should be on the horror, not on IPs being turned into low-effort horror movies. Honestly, that's probably the scariest thing, is low-effort horror. Huh, how does that data slate thing work if I'm supposed to use it here? I think this map might be wrong. Oh well, I don't really care, I'll sort it out. But going with all this stuff, I guess, like if I was going to do something with Steamboat Willie, when I hear steamboats, I think of, you know, early 1900s, mid to late 1800s, that time frame. And at least for me, I think of like pulp comics. I think of Doc Savage, and just the idea that there's so much at that time of the world left to explore. I'd be like, I'm gonna outdo Disney and make a Steamboat Willie thing, but make it an adventure. Oh, he's exploring some ancient tomb in, I don't know, the middle of the Amazon. Doesn't have to be scary. It can honestly be kind of kid-friendly if you really wanted to. But it's just kind of an adventure story. You stick to kind of what's there and you grow off it, instead of low effort horror. It honestly reminds me of Asylum movies. You know, Sharknado, Two-Headed Shark Attack, Sharktopus, Land Shark, Ghost Shark, Guidos versus Sharks, where they'd sit there, even going past just all the shark movies. I don't even know if all of those are theirs. I think they are. There's way too many. But they would make, like, I think it's literally called like mockbusters, where it'd be like, hey, there's an Alien movie or an Alien vs. Predator movie, so we're gonna have Hunter versus Extraterrestrial. And that'll get people in because they might mistake it. It feels like that, but lower effort. Because at least, say what you will about Asylum movies, I give them a lot of crap, but I enjoy them. Because, to a degree, yes, they're made to make money. There is heart to them. Except the Cowboys vs. Aliens one. Because the alien craft looked like sperm with legs. There's no getting around that. I remember seeing that the movie, and the second the robots were walking around, I was like, you know what this looks like, right? I'm not the only one looking at this being like, this is a little off. I get if you're going for cheap CG, it's not that difficult of a shape to make or really do much with. But I feel like you probably should have spent a little more to not have the jizzbot. Like, I can't word it any other way. But it just, like I said, it feels like this is kind of the cultural zeitgeist right now. 2000s, we had like Saw and all the really brutal kind of torture films, and 2020s have just kind of been, hey, what if we just kind of make bootleg horror? Because like with the movie and stuff, and I think one of the movies and the game, they wait until just when the IP went into public domain to announce it. So this feels just like they're plotting this. They're like, okay, this is gonna be cheap because we don't have to pay royalties. What's something so gimmicky that it's gonna pull people in? Because, for instance, the Winnie the Pooh Blood and Honey 2, that one, the story for Winnie the Pooh that introduced Tigger just entered public domain. So they're planning on releasing this year to capitalize on the fact that he just entered public domain. And it's just disappointing because then I see horror like Terrifier, where it is still relatively cheap, but there's a lot of heart put into it. There's a lot of creativity. I can't remember who does the character acting for Art the Clown, but they're able to really inject a personality into a character that I can't remember. I don't think he speaks. He's just a black and white clown who kills people. Your writing and your actors should be the ones injecting personality, and it shouldn't be trying to hope there's personality that just comes attached.
A corrupted servo skull possessing important faked captures is trying to escape. You must disable the construct before it launches self-sacrifice protocols.
I just hope this trend ends quickly.
Corrupted servo skull. Confidential material has been secured from the wreckage.
I don't think this kind of stuff really benefits anyone. And I don't know how much even these directors really can progress their career. Because at least when it's like completely original horror movies, you can look at those guys and go, oh yeah, he made that. It's not, hey, aren't you the guy that made, you know, the Mickey Mouse horror movie? It's like if I was some film executive, if I ran, I don't even know who's around anymore. I was gonna say like, if I was like Charles Band, but that's an old enough name. But, knowing my age demographics, some of you guys will remember his work. But it's like, even he with Puppet Master and stuff like that, those were at least creative. This reminds me of Jack Frost, but somehow worse. And the second Jack Frost movie, I swear, was sponsored by like Asahi Beer, which was really weird. And the whole time, watching it as an adult, the whole time I'm like, you know, if they had like Strong Zero, none of this would have happened. Hey, we got a boss mission. And we'll actually pick that up at the start of the next episode. If you enjoyed this episode, make sure to hit the like button, it helps out the channel a lot, and if you haven't already, make sure to hit the subscribe button. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.